Well, US President Donald Trump has reiterated his disappointment with NATO allies, and this is over their refusal to send military help to secure the Strait of Hormuz, warning that Washington may not help them in future if asked to do so. Since the start of the Israel-US offensive against Iran a month ago, Trump has repeatedly voiced frustration over Western allies' lack of support and reluctance to commit forces to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, traffic through the narrow waterway has come to a virtual standstill, leading to a surge in global energy prices.
It's going to make a lot of money for the United States because we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO, hundreds of protecting them. And we would have always been there for them. But now, based on their actions, I guess we don't have to be, do we?
Mr. President.
That sounds like a breaking story, yes, sir. Is that breaking news? I think we just have breaking news. But that's the fact. I've been saying that. Why would we be there for them if they're not there for us? They weren't there for us.
Well, 6 key powers, including Britain, France, Germany and Japan, they say that they are ready to contribute to the efforts, but have not made any commitment. Last week, Trump dubbed NATO member states cowards, declaring that North Atlantic Treaty Organization was a paper tiger without the United States. Listen to this.
I think he just made an observation, and the observation is that the United States is constantly being asked to help in a war, and we have more than any other country in the world, on a war that's happening in another continent, in Ukraine. But when the U.S. had a need, he didn't get proper positive responses. So right now he's just making the observation that, I think there was a couple of the leaders in Europe who said that this was not Europe's war. Well, Ukraine is not America's war, and yet we've contributed more to that fight than any other country in the world.
The development was also overshadowed by another statement from Marco Rubio, who didn't deny the possibility of diverting weapons which were meant for Ukraine to the Iran war. He dismissed claims that Russia was impeding the U.S. war effort against Iran. And this is significant as most NATO countries have raised concerns, suggesting Russia could benefit from West Asia conflict. And this is by taking advantage of global energy crisis and the lack of weapons for Ukraine.
I don't have anything to announce. It's not like I can tell you that that's happening right now, but it could happen, and it could have always happened. If we need something for America, and it's American, we're going to keep it for America first.
While in France, Marco Rubio met with foreign ministers of G7 countries in Paris, asking them to assist with the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. While Rubio joined his G7 counterparts a day after President Donald Trump lobbed insults at other NATO countries, making it even more difficult for America's top diplomat to try to sell the U.S. strategy. Although contradicting the U.S. president, Rubio took a more softer approach at the G7 gathering.
A lot of work happening right now. The UK has played a prominent role in bringing that together, but other countries as well. And there seems to be a lot of acceptance of all that. And our allies and partners here, at least to me, seem to be appreciative of updates on our operation and an understanding of what lies ahead over the next few weeks.
The G7 meeting was dominated by uncertainty over the current U.S. strategy in the West Asia conflict. A major theme of the meeting in Paris was Iran's de facto closure of the Hormuz Strait. The G7 foreign ministers, they deliberated on efforts to mitigate global economic shocks, such as disruptions to economy, energy, fertilizer and commercial supply chains. In a joint statement, the G7 foreign ministers, they reiterated the absolute necessity to permanently restore safe and toll-free freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. They also called for an immediate cessation of attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure.